Good morning, everyone. Steve Westman, live Audiophile Roundtable. We're back again. I want to do something I always love doing. Well, I want to do an audiophile vinyl week in review once in a while, maybe not every Sunday, because, there's always seems to be a lot happening during the week in the reissue world, audiophile world. Labels are moving fast. Collectors are listening closely, and every week it feels like another pressing lands on the turntable. And you got the forums talking about it, the Facebook groups talking about it, different YouTuber reviews. So, hey, let's just have a review of some of the stuff that's happened this week or some of the records that I've listened to and want to review. So today we're going to dig into a few of them. So you've got Universal's new Vinyl File series, still not used to that name. You got Rhino's Reserve series and the Definitive Sound series. I've got records from all three labels that I want to review today. And of course, this wouldn't be much of a roundtable without a fellow music obsessive joining the conversation. I'm really happy to have Vancouver DJ and I want to say music historian. This guy knows a lot about music. Martin Strong, fellow Canadian here in Vancouver as well, with me today. He's brought along a few records of his own, and I think it deserves the attention of his choices today. I'm excited to see what he has. So we're going to talk pressings, mastering, what sounds great, what surprised us maybe this week, and maybe a few albums we still love to get that audiophile treatment. So wherever you're at, maybe grab a coffee or other beverage, but let's bring Martin Strong in, fellow Vancouver. Is it Vancouverite? I guess we're Vancouverites, aren't we?
Vancouverite.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Steve. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Look at this. We got people from Germany. Here's Manfred. Hello from Germany. That's
Hello,
great.
Manfred.
Good day, midday, all. So we maybe got some European representation. So that's really good. Vinyl Kicks 86. I've been seeing Vinyl Kicks 86 for a while. So welcome to the show. Everyone's jumping in now. I thought we would do this. I know doing a sort of a review of the week. I had a chance this week, and it's not every week I get to do this. I had a chance this week to actually review records, Martin.
Wow.
No, I'm talking like actually see the record, actually put them on the turntable, drop the needle and listen to them. I'm not kidding.
Nice.
Seriously.
That's the key. I mean, if you're talking about them and you're buying them, but you're not listening to them, that's a problem.
That is a big problem. Then you know what happens, right? They just collect a lot of dust in your room. So I wanted to really, really get on top of that.
They're very heavy and they take up a huge amount of space.
Especially those like premium one steps or those big box things that we love to not buy any longer.
Yeah. No, it really doesn't make any sense. This whole thing makes no sense at all. But
so what are we doing? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
God, what are we doing? It's just we're in the Matrix right now. I think, Martin. That's where we're at.
I have that crisis quite often, but there's something about sitting like in the other room. There is where all the records are.
Yeah,
and there's just something about sitting in that room surrounded by all these records that go back, some of them to when I was a teenager. There's just something that makes me calm. Maybe it may be OCD. I don't know, but I just like being surrounded by vinyl.
It's a sickness. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a sickness.
Yeah. Let's face it. This is kind of an intervention. That's what this show is.
I get some comments. Well, Westman, why are you doing this show? Why are people watching these shows? You should be spinning their records instead. I'm like, good point, but it's fun to just interact within the vinyl community and a lot of the viewers that are into the same records and vinyl audiophile records as we listen to. It's a lot of fun. So a couple of days ago, I think it was Wednesday, Rhino Hi-Fi announced on their website, or I think it was In Excess as well, the In Excess Kick album's coming out. It's a Rhino High Fidelity coming out. Someone was asking me, and I read it somewhere, Westman used to announce these records. What's going on? You've been able to do that for a while. So what happened with In Excess is the management wanted to announce it on their website exclusively early, is why Rhino didn't announce it, or we didn't make an announcement with Patrick Milligan. Secondly, and then secondly, there was supposed to be another album that was going to come out in March, but they're still dealing with management approval issues, I think, on it, and it should come out next month.
Because that's an interesting point. A lot of these records come out, these Rhino Hi-Fi records come out, and it's all, you only hear from people from the record company, but you don't hear the band talking about it that much. You don't hear the management or the the people from the band who are all excited about the record. So it's interesting that the management of In Excess is involved, which kind of makes me happy.
Well, in an extent, I mean, they wanted it to be released first through their website, so that's cool. That's great. And I think a lot of the time too, I had Shane Bittner on yesterday from Intervention Records, and we're learning a lot about licensing. A lot of these bands have contracts already, so even if they approve a 5,000 run of whatever record or album they have, they're not making any more money off of it. They already made their money. So it's like, it's not really that motivating for a lot of them to just, hey, yeah, sure, we'll do another 5,000 run. They don't see any money from it. I mean, it's all been paid already through their contract. So I found that interesting as well. So it's really just management, both the record labels and their own personal management as well, that deal with this stuff a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was going to say that's a big record. That record, I remember when that record came out. That In Excess was as big as In Excess ever was. Well, I interviewed them at the radio station I worked at. All of them except for Michael Hutchins. They all showed up except for Michael Hutchins.
I wonder what he was doing that day.
Who knows?
Who can only imagine.
Yeah, we all can only imagine. But they were all very nice guys, very Australian nice.
Yeah. Produced by Chris Thomas, and it was mixed by Bob Clearmountain. You know Bob Clearmountain.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a Rhino Hi-Fi. I guess it's pre-orders up now on the Rhino Hi-Fi website. It's Kevin Gray cut it from the tape, and Patrick Milligan sent me the tape box. So can I show it to you?
Yeah, the actual tape box.
So this is the tape box. This is the actual tape box that they use for this hi-fi. And so what Patrick said to me on this tape box, he said, this box or this tape is considered our original masters, since these are what Atlantic used for all US and Canadian releases. So I found it interesting here. If you look on the sort of the middle right-hand side, it says Dolby. So it's a Dolby. It says +5, and you'll see it says Master Stereo. And then it'll also say EQ Limited Master. So to me, it looks like this actual tape they're using is already an EQ Limited Master. So Kevin didn't have to do as much Kevin Gray EQing, I guess. It's already given to him EQ'd.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think he'd ever cut something just as is. I think he would put his own little secret sauce in. But again, that's the tape box, or the tape that was used for all Atlantic, US, and Canadian runs of Kick.
I wonder what kind of problems that causes if it comes with an EQ already installed, because you can't get rid of it.
Right.
So you're kind of stuck with it.
I mean, I think master engineers deal with that all the time, right? So I mean, we'll see. I'll go back to say, like, I have every single copy. I've got the non-gatefold, the gatefold original. I've got a cassette. I've got a CD. I've got the Miles Shoal. I've got the, I think it was the Rhino Back to Black edition. I've got the, what was it? The Atlantic 7545 RPM. I've got it all. So yeah, it's crazy.
If there was an 8-track, you'd have it.
I'd love to get the 8-track. That would be great.
I wonder if there is. And go back to the tape box. I would look at, there's something, look at the song list for that side.
Yep. That's side one, right? Yep.
Side one. Look at those, like, 3 monster hits in a row. New
Guns in the Sky.
Inside, Need You Tonight.
Well, that New Sensation, just the way that sort of starts off. I mean, it's just an iconic sort of intro to that song. I just love it. Devil Inside, Need You Tonight. And then Need You Tonight is sort of, it bleeds Need You Tonight and Mediate bleeds into each other, if you recall that song as well. So that whole side is just incredible. I mean, it's like a greatest hits almost, if you're an INXS fan. So Rhino Hi-Fi, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it in the chat. I'm curious to know if you guys are going to buy it. I mean, everyone has Kick already, but are you going to buy this one for, what are they going for? $40 plus shipping?
Yeah, something like that. And I'm enjoying the fact that I go into, like, my store on Main Street here in Vancouver is Neptune, and I go in and there's tons of old Rhino Hi-Fis coming in all the time, like previous releases. And so it seems like they're easy to find now. Like, all the Doors ones are available. Like, yeah, I'm waiting for the Devo one, the first Devo album.
It'll come.
Yeah, to show up, because I'm too lazy to get it when it first comes out.
Manfred's asking, I think Kevin could not beat the AP45 cut by Ryan Smith. I have that one as well. That one sounds incredible. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, I've read a lot of, like, I run that Rhino Hi-Fi fan page on Facebook, and a lot of people like, I'm not going to buy, like, when it came out, the announcement, people are like, I'm not going to buy this again. I already have the Atlantic 75 by Ryan K. Smith. I already have the Miles Shoal. Do we need another copy of this? But like you were saying before, this is one of the most iconic albums. I mean, how many did they sell of these, of physical copies? Multi-millions of this thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to Google it, I would say 5 million plus.
Yeah. I mean, on FM rock radio, it was constant. It was so big. They were huge.
Never Tear Us Apart. I think that was a huge radio play. I mean, if you were probably playing that as a DJ years back in 1987 on your station.
Yeah, I remember when was it Shuba, Shuba?
I like that. I have that record. Yep.
When that came out, I think it was Don't Change. I forget the song, but it was pretty new and fresh. And I don't have a copy of that. I should see if I
do
find
right behind my original Canadian.
Nice.
Yeah. I like to see them all get the hi-fi treatment. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wait, someone's saying here, Rick's is saying, check this out, Steve, Kick sales. He said, look at this, 20 million US sales. Think about 20 million of these things. So a lot of people have Kick. So you could go to your record store, go to Neptune Records, and you could probably just pick that up. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, easy to find in the used bins. Well, it was easy. It's one of those records that you used to find all the time. You used to be annoyed that you would find it all the time, and then now not so much.
We're gonna get more opportunity.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So a lot of people are sticking with my Canadian in excess. There you go. We'll see.
Nice.
Speaking of records and record stores, our friend Josh from High Fidelity Records, he was on the show not long ago. He's got a great record store, online record store, and he just wanted to shout out, and he's putting up, this is highfidelityrecords.com. If you guys order from him today, there's a discount code for watching the show. It's going to be Westman, and it's 15% off today, Martin. Here's his High Fidelity, hyphen fidelityrecords.com. Here's some of the stuff that he has right now. So if you guys are into it, he texted me this morning and said, hey, why don't you, we can give 15% off to anyone that's watching that wants to go to his website. So have a look, 15% off. Westman is the discount code, and I'll put that in there. There it is.
Pick up the Yes album.
Save some money. Pick up the Yes album. Oh, look at this. Brian Adams Cuts Like a Knife. Steve Hoffman Audio Fidelity Gold CD. I think that'd sound pretty good.
You remember Cream magazine? You remember Cream?
Of course.
I remember when Cuts Like a Knife came out, and they posted that photograph of the album. I think it was the review of the album, and the caption of the photo with him with the guitar. It was like Brian Adams appears to be stealing someone's guitar in that photo, because it looks like he's walking away.
Oh, those videos though from that's 83, 84 are so cheesy. I think that's the one where, like, I don't know, it was done in a studio, and they put sand down on the floor. He's walking through the sand, and it's just all dark, and it looks like a studio to me. But that's the 80s for you. That's okay. But yeah, highfidelityrecords.com, 15% off. You put the Westman code in. That's a pretty good deal. I'm glad I can. Here's the thing. I get a lot of people complain that I cost them a lot of money. So here's an opportunity to go to highfidelityrecords.com and save money. I'm not spending as much of your money that way.
Starting to sound like an infomercial. You can't afford not to buy a record.
Right? We could do that. That'd be hilarious. Okay, so I got more records to review. Can you... are you excited about this? Because I don't know if you have them, but I really want to get your opinion on them after I talk to you about them and the viewers about them. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
So I was mentioning, I actually listened to records. So I got this one finally. This is the Rhino Reserve Van Morrison Moon Dance. And it's interesting because a lot of the time it will say cut from the master tapes or whatever. This is just cut from it says lacquers cut by Matthew Luthen at the mastering lab. Which means, and I think we all know this is a digital file.
Okay.
Digital file, just like the AP Rhino is a digital file too that was cut 45 RPM. And I also have the remix that was done by Stephen Wilson, digital, and cut by Kevin Gray. So I listened to that one as well. And I always have my go-to. I mean, it's hard to really... This is my Van Morrison, the best of Van Morrison, which I think is one of the greatest sounding, greatest hits records I have. And I mean, it has Moondance on there, and it has and It Stoned Me. So two of the songs from Moondance, the album. So I wanted to compare all three, and I wanted to tell you what I thought, Martin. And you can, I mean, I know you know this album, so I mean, to you, it's probably like, yeah, but here's the comparison. Here's what I got. So like I said, the Rhino Reserve pressing cut by Matt Luthens is noticeably cleaner and more cohesive presentation. I felt more balanced, more natural mid-range, and it really, especially around Morrison's vocals, really warm, more clarity. And
The
I felt too,
crankiness really comes up.
and absolutely, and I felt too like the instruments sat together in very, I don't know how to explain this, maybe a more musical way. You got the horns, you got the piano, the rhythm section felt really integrated into it as well. It was very organic feel. Okay. And then it's a real contrast because I've never been a fan of the Steven Wilson remix of cut by Kevin Gray of this. I've never liked the record. It really separates the elements. It's more, I would say, you can argue if I'm wrong, but more of an aggressive mix, I would feel. And it can reveal like more detailing. It has revealed more detail in this mix, but it really changes the overall character of the original production. So I wanted to bring it back and say, hey, if you want more of the original production of Moondance, what Matt Luthens did mastering this one is the way to go. And I mean, again, maybe some listeners appreciate the separation of the Steven Wilson remix, but I'm not a big fan at all. I'm not a big fan of it all. So I really think the Rhino Reserve stands out. It's, cut smooth, balance, has a great feel to it, nice presentation, really good sound stage, good width. The horns sound amazing, really good body and rhythm. And the rhythm section fits together and really locks together nicely. So even though it's digital, guys, really impressed with this one, Martin. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the Rhino Reserves, every single one I've got has been great. I have one that I bought like 5 years ago. It's a Rhino, just a reissue of that album, and I thought it sounded amazing. Sounded
Yep.
really good. It's
Yep.
funny that you use the greatest hits album
Right?
as the source, because sometimes the greatest hits albums. I remember when I first started at CFox Radio, we used to play records on the air. In those days, you played records, and the music director told me, don't play a greatest hits album if you don't have to, because the greatest hits albums are always not as good as
Well, it's a
the actual album.
copy of the tape, clearly, right? But I mean, this one in particular, I just love the sound of this record. I've had this since it came out, and this is one of Van Morrison's biggest selling records, if you can believe it. He actually took time. He's the one that actually put together the track listing, and it's a beautifully done record, and it sounds great. And I will tell you guys, if you get a copy of this, you will be very pleased. But going back to it, yeah, I mean, digital Rhino Reserve sounds really good. And I found a little error on this too. So the song, and It Stoned Me, on the Rhino Reserve, it just says Stoned Me.
Right. And what's the original?
And It Stoned Me is the name of the song. Because I mean, on this one too, you can see it here on my original, and It Stoned Me.
Wow.
Ooh, controversy. Who cares? I actually literally just noticed this now. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know why they did that. So Stone Me and It Stoned Me, whatever. So that's my Rhino Reserve. So what do you think? You have an original Moondance, don't you? Or you have an old Moondance that you probably listen to?
Yeah. Well, the one I have is a relatively recent repress, and I just really like that one.
Yep.
It's good.
I have my dad's old Moondance. It's too scratchy and used to even do a comparison. I didn't even bother. Like I said before, I got a ton of Rubbermaid bins of my dad's old Canadian copies that have been worn out. So I don't really get to them that often. That's for sure.
Yeah. Is that greatest hits album on vinyl? Is that hard to find?
Well, I mean, it's on Discogs. It'd be hard to find if you walked into Neptune Records or highfidelityrecords.com. I mean, yeah,
but
I think
it's like a kind of an expensive record to buy.
I'd say, yeah, I mean, someone will probably, if you guys want to find it, but on Discogs, this is an extremely really nice copy, because what I did when I bought this is I went and played it once and then put it on cassette and listened to the cassette version once I recorded it and then put it away. That's what I used to do with a lot of my records. So this record, I mean, I've played it more in the last year than I did the last 30 plus years, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's clean.
Those records that came out in the CD era are always really rare.
Yeah.
Like they're hard to find because they came out, but grudgingly. and then most people
Yeah.
were buying them on.
And I'd agree with Wheeler. Like, yeah, of course, Hoffman Gray Moondance is going to be tough to beat because I think they had a better source than just the digital file, right? So that makes sense to me. But yeah, someone is asking. Someone agree. Van's greatest hit sounds great, but again, not greatest hits. This is the best of Van Morrison. He does have a greatest hit, so you got to get this actual one. And Martin, I have this on CD as well. I've also have a cassette version. I have a recorded version off my. Yeah, so I'm a huge Van Morrison fan. Yeah. But yeah, and digital. Hang on, digital Moondance. Where are the tapes? Good question. It's not where are the tapes. From my understanding, they're not playable any longer. Is what the problem is with those. They're cooked.
Mm.
So, yeah, that was that. So then I got more.
Okay, let's see.
Do you remember our first show we did together? It was when like Universal just came out with the vinyl file.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Still
Was just
trying to learn how to pronounce that.
vinyl file. That's a weird one. But okay, so are you at all a Queen fan or ELO fan, that type of thing?
To a point.
So this is not a band that I actually ever. I mean, I had listened to them. I know the band, but I had never really got into them. But they sound incredible. This vinyl file. This is a double LP of Jellyfish Spilt Milk. This is the double LP vinyl file. Now, if you like Queen, you like the Beach Boys, you like ELO, it's all combined into this. Incredibly stacked vocal harmonies.
Yeah.
Incredible. And you can really hear the influences of the bands I was just mentioned before. The harmonies are really nice. Incredible sound stage. And again, it's 2 LPs, so there's a lot of room on these records to listen to it. I mean, incredible bass lines. You hear that kick drum and that solid punch, right? That's not muddy or at all. Really good instrument separation. Really, I got to say, I was really impressed. And I mean, I just closed my eyes for a second, like, man, I'm hearing the Beach Boys, I'm hearing ELO, I'm hearing Queen. Not something I had given a lot of thought to, but this is Jellyfish Spilt Milk vinyl file, double LP. This is a Joe Nino Hearns from the master tapes as well. RTI pressed it. Martin, you got to give this one a try. Top end is open, detailed. It doesn't sound overly bright. Great cymbals on it. Great acoustics. Man, I was really impressed with this one. I really was. This is one of those. I think this is one of those sleeper audiophile records.
Right. Well, I still have not heard one of those Universal vinyl file releases because they're not in the stores, are they? They're just mail order, I think.
Yeah.
Which kind of drives me nuts. Because Exodus, the Bob Marley, I would love to pick up, but
Movement of the People. But yeah, this is Jellyfish. Yeah. I was really impressed. And I really was.
Impossible to find on vinyl.
And I will tell you, if I did, I mean, I wouldn't, if I wouldn't have actually listened to this record if I didn't see the other reviews. And obviously I got this as a promo from Universal, so this really does help. I would buy this with my own money if I could. And I think it's a little harder for us Canadians to buy it, apparently.
Yeah. I went on the website and the Canadian Universal website, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find Exodus, but it's kind of confusing.
So I think, are they available in Canada? I don't know. I don't
even know if they are, because they aren't. The last time I checked, they weren't even on the website. But yeah,
I can't say I can't do that. That's why Movement of the People. I can't do the Bob Marley thing. I know. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people have the vinyl file Exodus. It does sound great.
Yeah.
So they're doing a great job. The vinyl file is doing a great job. And so I was also sent Heart, Dreamboat Annie. This has a Vancouver connection, Martin, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Made at Mushroom Records.
It is.
And it's on the original pressing, which I have, is on Mushroom.
I have that too. Yeah, I love it.
And it sounds great. And it's because you're probably like this too. Do you like to, if you buy if it's a British record, do you kind of really want the first British pressing?
Of course you do. Because
usually it's not the Canadian pressing that people want. But in this case, the first one is a Canadian pressing on Mushroom Records.
Such a good and again, this vinyl file. I mean, I think you could probably pick up original for cheap. And if you have the original, you're going to be very happy with it as well. I'm just saying.
Hard to find one that isn't
Yeah,
thrash.
and that's the thing. So if you need a fresh copy for whatever these are going for, these $40 plus shipping. I mean, you're getting Ann Wilson's vocals really at the center, good soundstage. Her voice really fits firmly in the center, really warm, good body, good mid range. Natural, of course, really engaging presence, right? So you got the acoustic guitars, they stand out. So you got tracks like, of course, Dreamboat Annie and Crazy. You can really hear the strings and the guitars are really attacking, and so you really hear that realism and texture in the recording. And I was mentioned before, like really great soundstage, nicely spread out, really good depth as well. Really allows the instruments to really sit in their proper place. Again, the bass is balanced and controlled. It's really nice to hear the acoustic elements of this record as well. So again, they did a great job. Joe Nino Hearns, all analog mastering of Dreamboat Annie with that Canadian connection here in Vancouver. But yeah, even original. If you have a clean original, I mean, I don't know if you need to rent out, get this, but if you don't, absolutely, this is great.
Yeah, and it's aged really well, I think.
Yep.
Just the sound of it, and it's an interesting connection because they're from Seattle, and Ann and Nancy Wilson, and the reason why they were sort of based in Vancouver
Yep.
is because I think all the guys in the band were trying to avoid the draft, the Vietnam draft.
That's a
So
smart thing.
that's why they were all in Vancouver, and then they recorded it at Mushroom Records, which up until recently was still there. It's just down the road from here.
And Scott Frampton is out. Yeah, I have that as well. Another great sounding record. I mean, I don't think Vinylophile yet, from the ones I have them all. I haven't heard any that don't sound really good. So it's one of those ones, if you don't have copies and you want a fresh copy, grab it because it's not $150. It's $40, I think, US plus shipping.
Wow.
It's
Peter
well
Frampton.
recorded.
Peter Frampton is the nicest guy in the world.
You met him?
Yeah, he is the nice. I met him like in the 90s, and he was just kind of coming back. He was sort of way off the radar for a long time. And I remember thinking, oh, Peter Frampton. Okay.
Yeah.
You get to, and it's kind of cool. I get to talk to Peter Frampton, but he was so nice and so eager to talk about music, and he was infectious with his enthusiasm.
I love that.
And every time I see him on TV or on YouTube or something, because I see him a lot lately, he's on YouTube a lot on different things, and he's just like that. He's bright and bubbly and just happy to be there, and he just is the nicest guy in the world. He's a cool guy, Peter Frampton.
So the Audiophile was mastered by Joe Nino Hearn. So far, all the Universal Audio or Vinyl Files, sorry, I can't get used to the name. Sorry about that. Vinylophile, Martin, are all mastered by Joe Nino Hearns.
It's like rural juror. It's hard to
got
say.
LP in the middle, so that's a little bit of a trick there. But yeah, they all sound great. I'm really impressed right now. Someone's saying here, I have an original Frampton Comes Alive, which sounds great. It does sound really good. Is the new pressing worth the money? Going back, if you have the original, it sounds fantastic. It's original, of course, fresher. But I think for the money, we're not talking $150 one steps or Clarity vinyl here, guys. I'm talking good bang for your buck. If you want a fresh copy, grab it. You won't be disappointed. Erykah Badu, another one. I have that. Incredible sounding. I was not really into Erykah Badu, but a very nice sounding record again. And I think those are ones that are hard to get on vinyl for a good price. So again, if you want to add to your collection, it's about your returning your listening dollar too, Martin. You don't want records sitting in your collection collecting dust, losing money as we get older. So this is a good way to really offset that.
Yeah, you got to be careful of, at least I do, of buying the same record over and over. For me, it's the Velvet Underground Loaded. There's a new one. There's the Rhino Hi-Fi.
I know, it's so good too.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to buy it because I just gonna have to.
I think you need to.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm having Grover Beery on the show. I think end of this month. He was texting me back and forth, and he does Because Sound Matters one steps in that Definitive Sound series. So he's come out with what did he come out with lately? I'm just trying to think of the last one he came out with. Green Day, of course. Mm-hmm. He came out with Dr. Dre. I'm not sure if that's stuff that you're into, but here's when I had Melinda Murphy on my show last week. The original Bernie Grundman goes for $3, okay, and it sounds really good. But Definitive Sound Series has come out with a Lionel Richie Can't Slow Down one step for $100, $120. Sounds really good. Neotech vinyl. Chris Spellman from Original Tapes. I think he did really well on this one. One of the features, I think, is the Neotech vinyl, really. But, I mean, every single song was a hit. Do you remember all these songs?
Oh yeah,
Can't Slow Down,
couldn't
All Night
escape them.
Long, Penny Lover, come on, Penny Lover. Hello was a big one. That's the last track of the album too. That's crazy. But yeah, Neotech vinyl, Chris Spellman, One Step Process. Originally released October of 1983.
Yeah, it's funny how as time goes by, you appreciate people like Lionel Richie more than you did back in the day.
I
I
didn't
know.
appreciate him at all. Like, be honest with you,
Yeah.
wasn't on
No,
my radar.
and especially like looking through record bins in the 90s, you could find that record everywhere. It was almost like Whipped Cream and Other Delights. It was
Oh
one of those
gosh.
records that was everywhere, and now you can buy it for $100.
So in June of 1999, this album had a lot of airplay. So Definitive Sound Series has come out with Blink 182, Enema of the State.
So you're
I'm not sure you're going to rent and buy this one, but this is again Neotech vinyl, mastered by Chris Spellman from the original tapes. Sounds great. Now, should you run out and buy $125 Neotech vinyl? Well, that's up to you. This is the best sounding Blink 182. So if you're a huge Blink 182 fan and you're a completist, you won't have the money to spend, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I always get a kick out of the parental advisory. I think that happened during when it was Tipper Gore, I think, was the one that really brought that in the mid 90s, right? She had that big campaign against explicit language being used in music that was hurting our kids' ears at the time.
Yeah, Frank Zappa I think he spoke to Congress about it.
Really?
He was not a fan.
But Tipper Gore.
Yeah. And Tipper Gore, like you think compared to politics now, it seems so innocent, but
really, it's like, and that was a big news thing at the time. That was, I know there's a lot of artists that were against that. They're like, how could you do this to us, type of thing. And this is, and now, wow.
Yeah.
Look at Frank Zappa tore Tipper a new one, according to Rick's.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
I need to YouTube that.
You don't want to go up against Frank Zappa, because he was he's not only was he snarky and kind of scary, but he was also really smart. So yeah.
Poor Manfred here. He's having a tough day. DSS not in Europe, Vinylophile not in Europe. You discover shops in many countries. What a mess. He's having a tough go with these records, isn't he?
It's like that in Canada, I think. Yeah, and Universal has so much stuff. Like one of my favorite records is Elvis Costello, Get Happy.
I like that record.
And the Universal regular release that I bought is not that great. It's just it sounds just kind of compressed and boring and like a digital file or something. And the mobile high fidelity apparently sounds great, but you can't find them now for less than $200.
Yeah, they're expensive.
So, but Universal has that in their catalog, so they should do a vinyl file one, and also make it available in Canada and in Germany.
I have obviously my contacts at Vinylophile or Universal, so I'm gonna actually email them, because I'm gonna email them this show as well, just to show them that we did a review today. So I'm gonna ask them about what their plans are for Canadians, because there's clearly a lot of Canadians watching today that want to buy it. So we'll see. Someone was asking to Definitive Sound Series, Lionel Richie was on Motown, no? So Universal. So this is definitely a Motown. It says Motown here on the label on the bottom. It says Motown Records on the bottom. So wherever they're getting licensing from, but Lionel Richie clearly approved of the one step. Probably not making any money off of it.
Yeah, it feels like Universal owns everything that isn't. That Rhino doesn't. Universal owns everything.
Well, here, if anyone from Sony's watching, I do this almost every show. I know it's redundant, but there's a method to my madness, because we know that Sony's got a crap load in their catalog. I know MoFi is able to get some, but a Sony Hi-Fi label would be kind of cool. But that would probably then not go very well for Mobile Fidelity, because they have I don't know if it's a partnership, but they definitely do a lot of work with Sony with the DSD, right? So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see. So those are my reviews of those records. I mean, a lot of people want to buy them in Canada. They can't, but Blink 182, again, it's what is that? Pop punk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Bellman.
That's the pop punk album, I guess.
Yeah.
The Led Zeppelin 4 of pop punk.
I mean, One thing I will say, I mean, if you guys are Blink 182 fans, the drums really benefit from the one-step format. Okay, what Travis Barker's kit comes through with more impact, more clarity.
You can
You really
hear the tattoos.
You can hear the snare and kick drums. You can really hear it. So again, improved soundstage as well. All in, it's very energetic record. That's the way I'd describe it that way. Very energetic. And
You
then
can hear the nose piercings.
you can hear it all. And then Lionel Richie, of course, is all about vocal presence, right? And you really hear this on these one steps. Low end is very deep and controlled. Again, I can't compare it to the original Bernie Grundman, but what I'm hearing is it's very well rounded, not overly powered in terms of what Chris's mastering did. A lot of balance, a lot of clarity. I mean, you got the keyboards, the percussion, all the backing vocals seem to really follow and are very smooth. Not really a lot of high frequencies, and very smooth and very detailed. So again, this is the choice. Do you want to buy $100 one step, or are you going to go with an original? It's really one of those subjective things. Up to you guys.
He's on tour right now.
Yeah.
In 2026, he's going on tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ooh, that would be interesting. So I have an original Lionel Richie album on Motown. It sounds really good, and the originals do sound good. Mastered by Bernie Grundman. So yeah, Steve's making me empty my savings account. No, I said if you go to highfidelityrecords.com, 15% off. Put the Westman code in, saving money that way. Don't complain. But yeah, going on tour. I mean, that's the license to print money.
Mm-hmm. Nowadays,
like that's how you make your money. That's for sure. So when I had Intervention Record Shane Bittner on, we were talking briefly, and you're gonna love this, Martin. We were talking about 180 gram vinyl versus like 150 gram vinyl, that whole debate. I wanted to quickly get into that with you. What are your thoughts, first of all, on the thicker vinyl? Because you came from an era where we didn't see 180 vinyl. This is sort of a new thing over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I came from the era of Dynaflex. Do you remember Dynaflex?
Oh, what's this? There you go.
You had a Dynaflex. Yeah, I got.
Well, I love doing this demonstration. You do this demonstration. You listen to that.
Wah, 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 wah.
I love the Dynaflex. And I don't even know how much this weighs, but on it is very thin, and it's probably maybe 100 grams? Would you say, or 90 grams? I don't know.
Probably half of what a record is. But the weird thing, I was doing some reading about Dynaflex, and a lot of people like the Dynaflex pressings because it was in the era. It came out in the late 60s, and it was in the era of they were trying to save money on vinyl, petroleum products. And so some of the record companies were reusing vinyl.
Yeah.
Which and it would have like shreds of paper in it, and it caused all sorts of problems. But the Dynaflex, they were using virgin vinyl, and a lot of people said it was superior to what the other pressings were. And like there's a big debate on the like Hoffman forums about this, but a lot of people say the Dynaflex records, even though they're like a like those things you used to get in magazines, those flexi discs, they sound good. And I think they do. The ones my experience with them. And I noticed this. I was looking for a Dynaflex record to show you.
I have that one too.
And this is a Speaker's Corner, a recent issue.
Okay.
And it's definitely not it's like a thick vinyl.
No, the Speaker's Corner is so thick.
But but they actually write Dynaflex on it.
Oh, that's funny.
It's just as sort of a tribute.
This is my original Bowie from '74. This is Diamond Dogs, one of my favorite Bowies. This is a great sounding record. I know there was debates for years on these different forums and people posting that they didn't like this, like Dynaflex, but sounds great. Someone's mentioned maybe it's 100, 110. I read somewhere that could be even 90 grams. I mean, 90 to 110. I've read that.
I could see it because it's really thin, as opposed to Dynagroove, which is another RCA thing. And Dynagroove is not good. Dynagroove is more of a process, like it's an early computer process where they tried to make the record sound bassier on a lousier turntable system, and so on a good turntable it sounded terrible. So Dynagroove is not good, but that has nothing to do with Dynaflex, but they're both RCA things.
Someone was asking the code again. The code is Westman on highfidelityrecords.com.
But 180 gram vinyl, that seemed like when records came back like 10, 15 years ago, that was the big selling point, 180 gram vinyl. But I think most people know that it doesn't matter. It's
I'm like a broken clock. I can be right at least twice a day. See, 90 grams. There you are.
yeah.
I'm thinking too, I think this is going to be the big audiophile debate in the next little while. Do we need 45s? Do we need 180 gram vinyl? Can we move it down? Because what Shane was mentioning, I didn't even get to that. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do a lot more in 150 gram. He says he doesn't hear any difference at all. And his system maybe is a lot more tuned in or more expensive, whatever the case is, than most of us. But he doesn't see any difference in sound from 150 gram to 180 at all.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else too. The price of vinyl is only going to go up because of this war collab with Israel, the United States against Iran.
Is there a war going on? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And there's possibly a worldwide energy crisis going on. And that's going to cause vinyl records to be more expensive to make because it's polyvinyl chloride, which is a direct thing.
It's a derivative of oil, isn't it?
Oil, and also the transportation, because a lot of these things are made in Europe and they get transferred by boat. And so I think the size of the thickness of the vinyl is going to be an issue, and the price of the vinyl.
I think it will come down. I think this 180 vinyl. I was when I was chatting with Shane yesterday on the show, I was like, well, isn't 180 vinyl was more of just like a marketing hype too? Oh, it's 180 vinyl. It's got to be the best. I mean, I didn't really understand it either. I mean, I remember buying records and when 180 was coming, I go, my God, these things are so thick now. Wow. I mean, like you mentioned, the speaker's corner to me is so heavy and thick. There's no bend or flex in it at all. It's just so different as well. Vinyl Latte saying 180 grams is a marketing gimmick. What is a good indicator of a quality press? Is the quality of the vinyl and the mastering. The number of grams a record weighs doesn't really matter. Absolutely. And that's exactly what Shane was saying as well. So Intervention Records is going to go back to 150 because like you were saying, we've got major oil issues going forward in terms of prices. That's going to increase everything. I think records could be going up in price because our shipping prices will be going up with oil going up. This isn't going away tomorrow. So we complain about the cost of shipping. We complain about our records, being more in price. I think that's going to be even worse in the next 6 months. I really do.
Mm-hmm. So probably we probably won't see a lot of people.
So maybe we'll go back to Dynaflex. We have an oil crisis, just like they did. That's why they did that, right? It was more of an oil crisis thing. So they're like, oh, we're gonna use less oil products and we'll do this Dynaflex. So maybe that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a good marketing. Let's go back to Dynaflex. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I like that.
And someone wants to put vinyl in the gas tank. Well, that would be imagine $150 one step. That's an expensive tank of gas for that. That's for sure.
It may you'll have to make a decision whether you fill up the car or buy a record.
Dynaflex coming back. I think so. That'd be huge. Quality over weight.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Alberta's pumping some oil. We always do.
Yeah.
Canada. Yeah.
True.
So your thoughts then, 180 to 150? You don't care.
I don't care. And I think it is hype. I think it was just some early hype. And I think it's pretty clear that it's all about the mastering and the quality of the vinyl too. Is it clean and not have bad things in it?
So when I guess years ago, you're a big fan of the Cars.
Mm-hmm.
You were telling me about a book you're reading.
I just read a book. It's called Let the Story Be Told, the biography of the Cars by Bill Janovitz. And I just finished it and it's really good.
Is it a new release? Like it just came out?
Yeah, it just came out, I think about a couple of months ago at the most. And
so what did you like about it?
It was just very in depth. And it told the story of this band, and the band is so interesting. And Rick Ocasek, the leader of the band, is such a complicated character. So, and it didn't shy away because he's kind of a jerk in a lot of ways. He seemed like it was sort of a mixed bag.
I think he was. I mean, he was married to Paulina Poroskovic, and I think just before he died on his deathbed, he changed his will and left her out of it or something crazy like that. It's pretty, and they were married for 20 plus years. It's pretty brutal, man. It's pretty cool.
She still got like a house in Manhattan and stuff.
I think she made good money in her own career too, I'd hope.
Yeah, I think she's doing okay. But he
Yeah.
had 3 sets of kids with 3 different
Oh,
women,
I didn't know that.
and the oldest kids, nothing in the will.
Really?
And if you talk to them, they're very unhappy. And he was also a control freak, and it brings up a really interesting question because the Cars, he had all the publishing rights. Mostly, there were a couple of songs written by him and Greg Hawkes, the keyboard player, but all the songs were written by Rick Ocasek. But if you think of a song like Bye Bye Love, for
Yep.
example, think of
Yep.
that in your head.
Yep.
If you heard like a guy with an acoustic guitar singing that, compare it to Greg Hawkes' keyboards, Elliot Easton's guitar runs in it, and just the drumming, and then Ben Orr half the time is singing the song. It makes you question, like, should 100% of that publishing go to Rick Ocasek? And maybe not like split it evenly, but maybe like a little taste should go to the other band members for
Yeah.
what they put into the record. It's an interesting question, and they were not very happy about that by the end, and so they all hated each other, especially Elliot Easton and Rick Ocasek, and even in the book, they have the blurbs by people, famous people, hyping the book, and Peter Buck of REM said, "Oh, I love this book, and it's also a great example of why band members should share credit whenever possible," or
Right.
something like that. I'm paraphrasing, because REM famously, from the very beginning, all the songs were credited to all the members of REM, so that if they all brought something, they wouldn't be resentful if they added something to the song or whatever. So it's an interesting question.
Yeah. So buy the book then. Read it.
Yeah, it's a good book. And they also talk a lot about, see the guy at the very top of the book, that's David Robinson,
Okay.
and he's the drummer, and he was the drummer of the Modern Lovers. Here, let's look at this record.
Yeah.
The Modern Lovers with Jonathan Richman. And if you look at this, here, I'll try and do this without killing myself. This is David Robinson, Jerry Harrison of the Talking Heads, Jonathan Richman, and a guy named Ernie Brooks, who was good. And this record, talk about records that should be released with an audiophile version.
That's
like a
the one.
Rhino
I hear a lot about that. Yeah.
This one should definitely, because if you like the Stooges, this has got sort of real influences of the Stooges. And this one kind of was such an important record for the whole punk rock scene. The Sex Pistols do a version of Roadrunner, which is on this record. And so influential. But it's an interesting record. I don't know if you like Jonathan Richman, but Jonathan Richman was the leader of this band. And yeah, Ben Orr, probably a better vocalist.
Well, Ben Orr Zachowski actually is his real name. Just What I Needed, Let's Go, Move It in Stereo, Drive. He was the lead on Drive, which I think is one of my favorite Cars songs.
And he was the only one. Rick Ocasek had a bunch of solo albums, but none of them were popular or had any hits on them. But Ben Orr had kind of a cheesy song, but he had Stay the Night. Remember that song?
I know
that was
song,
from his solo album. So he was the only solo guy from the band who had a hit. And that's a good point about Wham. George Michael, he definitely didn't need to share the songwriting credits with Andrew Ridgeley.
I'm happy for Andrew Ridgeley. He's obviously made himself some money now. He's fine. He'll be okay.
But that's a great point. I mean, and it's, you just look at bands who share the credit, like the Doors shared all the credit.
Yeah.
And that's a weird example because Jim Morrison died so young. But if you look at the bands that shared the credit, they still like each other and they last longer.
That's true.
And
the animosity is not there. Like it's more of an equal team, right?
And I'm not saying you have to share the songwriting, because sometimes, like Sting, for example,
he had to just pay some more money to the other members of Police just recently,
because Andy Summers, the song,
I can't remember it.
It's the biggest song in the world. Everybody plays it at their wedding. Of course, somebody write it in the thing.
Not Every Breath You Take.
Every Breath You Take.
Oh, okay.
So Every Breath You Take, if you think about it, that song, if somebody walked in and sang that song and said,
Yeah. I
everybody,
love that song.
without Andy Summers' guitar and what he brings to that
Makes
song,
sense.
it's different. It's not a hit, I don't
Real
think.
again in the opening of that song with the guitar too. Like thinking about that
Yeah.
one, I haven't heard it for a while, but yeah.
So it's like, how do you figure that out? Like maybe 10% or 15% or something.
It wasn't multi-millions. I saw the number somewhere, but it was a decent check. I mean, the time the lawyers take their 30 points and there's income tax, who knows what's left, but it's, it's a couple of trips to Japan maybe type of thing if you're wanting to go travel. It's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you brought some pictures here. I was going to put this one up as well. Can I put this guitar is interesting to me. What am I looking at here? We're talking about guitars.
I took that picture in 1979.
Hang on, you took that picture. This is your picture. Where was it taken?
The Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver.
Love that place. Peony.
Candio tour. And in the days when you could be a 17-year-old kid with a 35 millimeter camera and a partial zoom lens, and you can just walk in the concert and run to the front because it was festival seating and take that picture. So I took that picture of Rick Ocasek.
So Rick Ocasek, what type of guitar is that?
I don't know. It's not the Black Strat, the 1960. Did you hear about that? The David Gilmour's Strat, his guitar just sold on Thursday.
Like that there? Like this?
That's David Gilmour's Black Strat, which I think he played on every Pink Floyd album after 1970. So it's on Dark Side of the Moon. It's probably what he played the solo on.
Right. Oh yeah.
Comfortably Numb, arguably the best guitar solo of all time. And that guitar sold on Thursday at Christie's auction house in New York for $14.55 million.
Say it again. $14.55 million.
Yeah.
This guitar. I was saying before, even if I had that type of money, I promise you I would never buy it. I don't want that. That just to me doesn't, I don't know. But who owned that prior to David Gilmour? Like who sold that?
It was Jim Irsay, the owner of the
late Jim Irsay. He passed away, and he's the same guy that bought the first White album that had the 00001 that Ringo had.
Yeah. And they auctioned off a bunch of his stuff. He had like Ringo drums. There was a Eric Clapton guitar. Hang on.
So here's the thing. When you die, what happens to all the stuff that we have? They just get rid of it. Seriously. There's a
nice
good example.
Problem for his kids.
Well, his kids already own the team. I mean, they're fine. They're okay. That's crazy. What else
he bought the guitar like a few years ago for $4 million. And that's when David Gilmour sold it to raise money for a charity.
Oh, that's awesome.
Climate change. But he should have waited. Now he can.
So my question with this Black Strat, was it a charity auction? Would this $14 million go to like a good cause, or just going to be hoarded within the estate?
I think it was just for the estate of Jim Irsay. I think.
The rich just keep getting richer here. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so I have this here. What are we looking at?
Oh, Iggy Pop. This is Lust for Life. This is another.
I love this album.
This is a record that, because I mean they've already got the
a digital copy back to Black's Universal, or back to Black, not Universal. Is this Universal? No.
Yes, it is. I think it's Universal, and Universal owns the rights to this. And Four Men with Beards put out a version of it like 10 years ago. I bought a copy. It was terrible. It was so unlistenable that it was like it was recorded off a cassette deck or something, and I just gave it away. But that is one of the greatest Iggy Pop albums, and that should be a hi-fi release.
Lust for Life.
And it's just the greatest album.
Not the greatest, most attractive cover for an album, but that's okay.
I think he's got the big smile. This is a close second. Yeah. This The Idiot by Iggy Pop.
So this could be a vinyl file. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this must be. And while we're talking Iggy Pop, like this is another one on RCA. This one might be
The Idiot.
Dynaflex.
Put it up again. Yeah, good album.
Yeah.
Is it Dynaflex?
It might be. This is a German pressing.
Oh, okay.
But it feels pretty light. But another thing about Iggy Pop, for people like Iggy Pop, he has a weird career because he changed record labels all the time. And he had a brief period on Arista Records, and those records are forgotten, but they're great. And I've got two of them here. New Values.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
music was best when ugly
I
people
know.
made it,
It's
according
so
to
funny.
Patrick.
There you go.
And that's a great one. And Soldier. Um, a Dean
Yeah.
Cadillac electric guitar and that Rick Ocasek pick.
Thank you, Vinyl Kicks. Thank you.
It
I
was
like that.
from the Candy-O tour. But those are great records.
Here, I'll put
And
it up.
and
I'll put that up again so everyone can see that. There it is.
I said
That's a
Dean
good
Cadillac.
picture. You
Yeah,
were right there. That's like when I was at the NXS Kick concert. I was right in front of Michael Hutchins as well, just like that.
yeah.
Back in the day.
I was able to borrow a 105 millimeter Nikon lens. I had a Nikon FE
Oh,
camera.
I had the
35.
FM. I love those chrome bodies. So
Oh, I
good.
love that.
So
Yeah.
amazing.
And I was able 105 millimeters, so slightly telephoto, and yeah, and they just let you in. It was in the days of festival seating. Remember festival seating?
No, I know. Just rush. Go.
Right to the front.
I went to a concert in Birds Hill, Manitoba, and I guess it would be the early 90s. It was Bryan Adams, Steve Miller Band, who else? The Ricky Nilsson brothers. What a concert that was. And it was so rainy. I think there was just about 1,000 people there. We had front row, got to see Steve Miller live, Bryan Adams live. It was crazy good. Those are the days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would never happen today.
No. But those Iggy Pop albums were on Arista Records. And I was thinking, so I started thinking about how much I liked Arista Records.
Yeah.
And there's some great records on Arista. Anybody remember this one?
Graham Parker.
Squeezing Out Sparks.
Yeah. Again, I love the just very non-creative covers of these albums back then.
Yeah. And how about this one? Anybody remember Dwight Twilley, the Dwight Twilley Band? Also on Arista Records, which is the great Arista label.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
And Clive Davis was the guy. And then this one too. They had Misfits, the Kinks, which is they re-released this one recently. I'm not sure. I didn't hear it.
Did MoFi not do a reissue of that one too? Yeah.
I think the Kinks are pretty good with reissuing all their catalog. And then back to Lou Reed.
Oh, I love Lou.
Street Hassle. He was on Arista for a brief time. So there you go.
I'm loving that. So from the records I was talking about today, which ones interest you still? Which one are you going to possibly run out and buy? It doesn't sound like Moondance is one that you're going to just...
Well, I already have a pretty good copy of it.
I think it's Lionel Richie. I think you're going for it. I think you are.
Yeah. I don't know if there's that. That is from my sister's record collection.
Hello.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse that with the Hello song, the other Hello song. I get those two confused, but yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would like to get one of those Universal albums if I could find them in Canada. But oh, really? Kinks reissues are mostly cut by Kevin Gray.
That is true.
Yeah. I bought.
And I want to say from the tape as well. I want to say that. I'm not. I want to say when I've talked to Kevin about that, that's the case, but I could be 100% wrong. Maybe we'll say in the.
And I don't know if like those great albums like Village Green Preservation Society are the greatest albums ever made. I don't know if they're the most audiophile. Oh, Sleepwalker.
Sleepwalker
is a great record. That was the first Kinks record I ever bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I saw them on the Merv Griffin show or the Mike Douglas show. I can't remember.
Mike Douglas show, yeah.
And I remember I thought, oh, I've heard of these guys because I'd heard Lola on the radio and stuff. And then Sleepwalker is amazing, unsung, unheralded classic, I think.
Well, there was the Davis brothers, right? Like it was Ray and Dave played together in the Kinks, if I'm not mistaken, for a while, or did they? Probably, right?
Yeah, and the Ray. Say that again.
Ray and Dave, I think, were the brothers on that band.
Yeah, they used to have fist fights on stage. But Ray Davies is Pete Townsend said Ray Davies should be the poet laureate of the United Kingdom. And I just finally picked this one up. This is Robin Hitchcock Globe of Frogs.
Let's see.
Here, I got this big mic stand right here. And it's this is really interesting because if you like Robin Hitchcock, this is a classic album from the 80s, probably his most commercial sounding record, but still great. Balloon Man is on it. But recently he found all the tapes of this record. And so he wanted to re-release it on his Tiny Ghost label, but he had all the tapes, all the stems, I guess you would call them. And so he decided to completely remix it. And I had a debate with a guy in a record store a couple of weeks. That Black Diamond Roll is great. Now Lola is stuck in my head.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
But this brings up an ethical question, because he took all these tapes, they're the old tapes, and he remixed it. So the record sounds completely different. Not completely different, but you hear strings all of a sudden. You hear things you didn't hear before, and it's quite a bit different, even though it's all original. And I had a debate with a guy in a record store, and he said, you shouldn't touch the record. Yeah, that's sacrilege. You shouldn't touch the record. But I said, well, why not? It's your record. It's his record. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah.
We have the choice to buy it or not. And I think it sounds great. And it makes a nice sort of complement to the original record, which is not that hard to find. And then you can buy this new version. But I don't know what people think. Do you think that it's sacrilege to touch the old tapes and really give it a remix?
I mean, you hit a good point, right? Because what was I showing today? This is the remix of Moondance. I don't like the sound of it, because I grew up listening to the original sounding Moondance. I just don't like the way this one sounds versus the original. So yeah, I guess everyone's different, right? I mean, we can debate the whole remix of the Beatles and the whole reimagination of the Beatles catalog to date, all that stuff with the Mel software. I mean, we can get into that, but no.
And people say that you should put the record out, but with a different label, which is, I guess for a Beatles album, that might be like, for Revolver, that might be valid, that it should have some sort of indication that this is not the original, this is a new remix. But for something like Robin Hitchcock, I think anybody who's hip to that would probably know the difference between the two records, and they could have both.
Have a little bit of fun with it
and live in harmony. Because remember when Marquee Moon by Television came out, and everybody was so, or a lot of people were sort of, artist intent. Oh, they made
Marquee Moon, Rhino Hi-Fi. No one had listened to the Marquee Moon or known about that album prior to this. I mean, let's just be real. A lot of people had no idea about this. Yeah. And it came out, it sold out. And yeah, I think it's a great sounding record. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this one, I'll just finish. This Robin Hitchcock one sounds much warmer and more contemporary than the original did.
Well, Martin, we did it.
All right.
Isn't that crazy? It's an hour. I mean, you've been doing this for years. I mean, you know that time flies when you're having fun, but this is a lot of fun. I like doing these shows with you, and you got to come back. I really appreciate it. I guess I didn't talk you into Lionel Richie. I think you're going to go to the bargain bins today and get the $3 definitive, the $3 Bernie Grundman. That's cool. I'm down with that too.
I used to sneak into my sister's room to listen to her records sometimes. Yeah. And I remember that was one of the records that she had. So it feels like one of my sister's records.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for watching. It was awesome. Have a great Sunday, and glad you guys could join us. And again, Martin Strong, thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.